All right, we're live. Ladies and gentlemen, happy Friday, October 18th. Obviously, a tremendous prior weekend in college football. And tomorrow, really excited for Austin, Texas. We got Formula One, we got ESPN, College Game Day. We have the number one ranked Texas Longhorns against the two in the last 3 years, two-time defending national champion Georgia Bulldogs. First, just firing fast. I think of Texas. I think of their quarterback, Quinn Ewers. Just came back last week after 2 weeks off. Did okay in that Red River game. Was a little had that pick on the first series. Was a little slow to start, and then towards the end of the game, I credit OU on this. They had many reasons to lay down and just we want to get out of here. It's hot and everything. Enough of this Red River rivalry. And that OU defense kept holding Texas to field goals. So certainly something to think about for Texas when they want to come out, put four competitive quarters together. And then you got Carson Beck on the other hand. Georgia had that tremendous game a couple weeks ago with the Alabama Crimson Tide. Carson Beck played his absolutely lights out in that second half. Just tale of two halves. Didn't know. It's like you didn't recognize who that first half player was. So which Carson Beck and which Quinn Ewers are we going to see? Ewers only having one full game, and Beck being the fifth-year senior. When you're top dog and being the dog at Georgia, and you got that quarterback tradition there, can he really start to cement and seal his legacy? It's going to be a tough task. And looking at the defenses here, Texas is as stout as they come. Texas is the number one total defense, giving up just 200 yards, about 220 yards a game, and they're the number one scoring defense in the country. Georgia, the Dogs, on the other hand, are the number 28 total defense. I'd like to boil this down. I mentioned those quarterbacks, but who's going to stop the run, right? Just think it from a game plan perspective. Coach Sark, I would say Texas is a lot more multiple in what they're trying to do. It certainly is kind of an NFL type. You just mixing and matching personnel. You got lots of motions and perimeter runs with their incredible speed that they have with their receivers. And then Georgia's probably a little more methodical. And then, similar thing. They're trying to run to set up the pass. They'll throw in some screens and, off-tempo things to change it up a little bit. But which quarterback or which team can establish the run first? Both are actually statistically not impressive. Texas is just marginally better, averaging 189 yards versus the Dogs at 134 yards a game. So no clear, evident winner here. One very key note for those of us who are in Las Vegas, as Brent Musburger likes to say, our friends in the desert. Georgia's gone through some significant injuries at O-line, rotating, and kind of a fun fact, the storyline for this game, Georgia offensive coordinator Mike Bobo, his son, I believe his son's name is Drew Bobo, he'll be the starting center. So this will be the first game that he'll be starting. He did get thrown in a few weeks ago as they had some change on the O-line. Oh, I wasn't recording on the computer. I thought I was. Anyways, we continue. So O-line, changing the O-line is very tough, especially when you don't have a veteran group who doesn't have that 3 years, 4 years experience being in the trenches, third quarter, fourth quarter when things get really hyped up. These teams have only met 5 times in history. Maybe some of you were alive in 1958 which is the last time that the Georgia Bulldogs came to Austin, Texas. No, I do not think they had Formula One that weekend. Does anyone know how much a hotel is going to cost? I booked one in Round Rock, so not paying that price. But the last time the Georgia played in Austin was 1958, and it was a barn burner. The Longhorns won, score of 13-8. So, talked about offensive line injuries. What else sticks out to me about this game? There's all these streaks, and certainly it is impressive what Georgia's accomplished with Kirby Smart And they had a great run last year, going up all the way up to the SEC championship game. For Georgia, I don't think any of that stuff matters. I think this year has been a tougher season than them, especially the way they've looked, and not taking anything away from their players or staff. But I think they have a tough, tall task ahead of them in Austin to come into DKR at night. You'll be over 100,000 people. You got Formula One, you got game day. During Sark's time, the last 3 years, the Longhorns are 15-1 at home at DKR. Who was that one loss to, you may ask? Alabama. And that was Texas missed a field goal, which would have would have given them the victory there. So think about that. Also, Georgia has only lost to one team in the Kirby Smart era. I think he's 47-3. 1 second here. Yeah, Georgia is 51-3 in its last 54 games. The senior class in Georgia, not a bad senior class. When you win 2 national championships, you go 3 undefeated regular seasons, 47-3 all time. But all 3 of those losses were to the Alabama Crimson Tide. Nick Saban, Kalen DeBoer. A funny note is, I don't want to talk about that. There's all the talk of when you lose to this coach or that coach. So, but yeah, great weekend. I'm reminded, and first and foremost, how about that win last Saturday in Eugene, Autzen Stadium, the Fighting Dan Lannings in a classic with the Buckeyes there, certainly proving their mettle and the quality and probably the long-standing ability to if you can, as long as you can recruit up there in Oregon. Not always easy booking those flights, but recall that Dan Lanning in a game against Colorado, Coach Prime and the Buffs, Dan Lanning had a famous locker room speech where he said, "This game isn't played in Hollywood, it's played on the grass." And all of the fuss and excitement in the city of Austin, this game is going to be played on 100 yards, 53 1/3, DKR, 100,000 screaming fans, and 11 on 11. May the best man win. It's going to be a fantastic environment. When it's fall and it's October and you feel that chill in the air, these games matter. Certainly in this 12-team playoff era, there is a little bit of a breathing room. I mean, if Texas were to lose this, if Georgia were to lose this, and you do all those scenarios, we can't predict anything, especially in the SEC. We saw all those games last weekend. Arkansas beat LSU at home, or Arkansas was playing LSU this weekend. Arkansas beat Tennessee previous weekend. Florida, Tennessee went to overtime. LSU, Ole Miss went to overtime. And so you never quite know how this thing will shake out. Everyone could just beat the piss out of each other. And if you're 8-4, you might have a shot. So, but I think this game is certainly going to deliver. I believe the Longhorns are favored by 5 points. Again, throw that all out. Doesn't mean anything. Let the players and let the plays do all the talking for you. So that's my brief analysis, right? Covered the run game, all these streaks. Texas certainly seems to have earned the accolades, the respect, how good they've looked against quality opponents, quality competition. And I think Georgia, we're still trying to figure out what their team is. That kind of, you saw that difference in the Alabama game. First half against Auburn kind of struggled. And so it was 7-3. I think they might have scored to make it, kind of a last second turnover thing to make it 14-3 right before the half there. So it's not early. This is the heart and this is the heat. Rent is due and you got to come through if you're looking to become one of those elite teams. I'm reminded one of my favorite coaches is actually basketball, Pat Riley, right? JVG, he used to say, when I think of Pat Riley and those 90s Knicks teams, I think of Schenectady. If you're from upstate New York, give me a little help on that. And by the way, if you are from upstate New York, I would like a beef on Weck. Help me out there. But Pat Riley, it's kind of, you have these three phases, right? So number one, you have to become a team. I think of that like September football. Who's my roster? What is our scheme? Who am I developing? Who's not there yet? October is the second phase. Become a winner. Learning how to win. Learning how not to beat yourself. You see that in all of these struggling teams, even these fantastic down to the wire games on a Tuesday, Wednesday night, right? New Mexico State versus Louisiana Tech. What a ball game. What a classic that game was in double overtime. But you have to learn how to win. And even having the best players or even having the proven track record, what is it right now at this moment? That's what the challenge is, and that's all that matters. And then the next phase, which we're about to come as we once we start having these Tuesday night shows, what's the playoff picture going to look like, and Boise State and Group of 5, UNLV, yada yada. It's just, can you become a contender? So you can win at a consistent and a high level, and then boom, all that matters, who's going to finish, who's going to execute. And that's why we love sports. That's why we watch, because the action only gets better and better. So get ready for playoff football very soon, in about a month. So hard to, fun saying that. Even 6 weeks here to go in the middle of the season. But we will see you, ladies and gentlemen, 6:30 p.m. for kickoff at Darrell K. Royal Stadium. Longhorns and the Dogs of Athens, Georgia. Last time I was there in Austin, I actually missed the entrance. I believe they play Hell's Bells, and it's quite a sight. So I'm fired up for that. Have a great, fantastic Formula One weekend of college football, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen.